Good morning. My name is Ann Dobson. It is not Brian Dustin. Brian's a little under the weather today, so wish him well. Our service leader today is Reverend Lori Whittemore. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco and Biddeford. We also want to welcome those joining us on YouTube and encourage you to have a candle or chalice to light when we light ours here in a few minutes. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad you are here with us today. The theme for the month of April is interdependence. We invite you to carry that theme with you as you are with us today and into your daily life when you leave here. We strive to be a green sanctuary. This gives roots and wings to our vision of a world where all people build toward a sustainable future and make reverence, gratitude, and care for the living earth central to our lives. We want to acknowledge that our building sits on the land of the Wabanaki Confederation, which includes the Abenaki, Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot nations. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling as you exit our sanctuary. Just a reminder at this time, please silence your cell phones if you have not already done so. There will be a luncheon in the parish hall after the service. We invite everyone to join us at that time. Please join me in our chalice lighting. This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to speak truth in love, to serve human need, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine.
I think that's how it's going to go this morning. Good morning. It's so good to see familiar and even some new faces today. Let us join ourselves together this morning to recognize and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that do not serve us. We are who we are, and we have the opportunity to be who we want to be, to create a new inheritance for the future. May our thoughts, words, and actions in our daily lives assist in dismantling paradigms of oppression and suffering. May we give thanks for individual place and time and space to our families and our relationships that touch and change us every day. And may we give thanks to the wise teachers who help us remember how to be and the chance to make it so. Underneath and within these stories and histories is our humanity. Being human means we are earth. We are water, we are fire, we are atmosphere. We are the sun, we are the moon, we are the stars. We are all that we see. And the wisdom is revealed by looking in between. Come, let us worship together. And please stand as you're able and join me in singing hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. Now please turn and greet your neighbor.
Good morning, Paul.
Glasses for you. Misunderstanding.
Stigmatist. It'll be good.
You gotta go sing sweet. You look good in glasses.
So,
Now is the time in our service when we express those joys and concerns that are dear to us. If you would like to express a joy or concern, please come forward. You won the race.
Hi, I'm Donna, and one of the candles that we lit this morning is a candle of great joy. On Thursday, my amazing granddaughter, Brindy, and her equally amazing husband, Zach, came to visit us and very creatively let us know that they're going to be having their first child in November and even perhaps on my birthday, and we are just so excited.
And so, Donna gets to be Great Nana, and I get to be Great Grammy.
I have two joys. David went fishing yesterday and caught 2 beautiful salmon on Sebago Lake, so he was all excited. While I was at my granddaughter's lacrosse game. I do not understand lacrosse, but she did get a goal all by herself, and she was really happy about that. And my other granddaughter's softball team this week got 3 runs. They haven't gotten really any runs this year, so they're very happy with their 3 runs.
Good morning, I'm Ellie. I lit 2 candles. The first one is for a couple that I know are having some struggles with their family, and so I'm just thinking of them. And the second candle is a candle of joy because my grandson, Xander, will be a big brother in December.
Welcome to
My name's Randa. I don't know if this is the family that Ellie was mentioning, but Sonia and Matt asked for a candle because they are supporting their daughter through a very, very difficult time in her life. I have another concern this morning, and it's about Gaza, and it just feels like I just hope that we as a church can figure out a way to address some of our opinions about that situation.
Good morning. After years of wanting and wishing, I can now say with great pride and some trepidation, I have 12 solar panels on my roof.
I know this is cheesy. I just wanted to say, how wonderful is it that we have leaves on the trees coming out?
Yes, are you going to speak?
My mom, my mom's, my mom is, my mom, my mommy, her mom died.
No, she didn't. I don't know where that came from. She's never said that before. Anyway, I am lighting a candle of joy this morning. Maybe she's thinking of my dad.
No, I'm talking about your mom.
Okay.
Your mom when
Maybe you're talking about. No, that's my mom's mom. That's my grandma. Yeah, yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm lighting a candle of joy this morning because I had a very, very productive day cleaning and organizing my apartment, and it feels like a new place, and I'm so happy. So, yeah, that's it. Sure.
Morning, everybody. Just a little news that tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, I'm going to lose 1 tooth, which is good because it's hurting like, it hurts. So it's going to be extracted tomorrow. They try to save it, but it's just no. It's got to go. So it's going. And then my other joy is that I'll be playing music this afternoon for you folks. So thank you very much.
Patrick's letting us know he won't be at cleanup tomorrow morning here. Unless, of course, Betsy and I are doing the extractions. Forward. Doreen.
Go without a mic, because I don't want to infect anything. Carl and I have had terrible colds. So, first of all, the cherry blossoms in the cemetery are glorious. Secondly, I got 2 candles this morning. One is for compassion and help and healing for the people of Gaza. The second one is for the prisoners of Hamas. And third, I pray for the peaceful demonstrating and the safety of the students across the country to protesting the war.
Good morning. My name's Brian. It's my first time here. I've always felt as though I have a bit of a non-traditional belief system, and because of that, I've never felt as though I have any place to worship in community, and that's always something I've longed for. And then I heard of this place recently, a couple weeks ago, and I'm very happy to be here, so I'd like to share that joy with you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I lit this candle because this week has been a week for me and for Jane, a week of loss, and I think perhaps from others of you. So just as the trees are getting beautiful and all of the lovely cherry blossoms are out, some of us are dealing with loss as well this week. And the final candle is for all of the joys and concerns that we are holding in our hearts.
We're doing something a little new. We're adding a pastoral prayer. And so I invite us to be in the spirit and attitude of prayer right now. Gracious and holy source of all there is, thank you so much for bringing us together today to hold one another in our great joys this morning and our concerns. Thank you for giving us a community that can walk with us and celebrate us and hold us. Grant that the peace that passes all understanding envelop us this morning as we face our challenges, and the joy and spirit also descend upon us as we move forth from this place to support the work of the church and to do the work of the church. Amen.
And now I invite all of the children of whatever age to come with me up to the front and we'll have a story. Come on, Tess. Hey, you're going the wrong way, Tess. There she comes. Hi. You want to? Yeah, that's a good place to be, right there. Yes. Anybody else want to come up and join us? Our story today is the story of the Root Children, and it's written by a woman called Sybil von Olfers. And this was my favorite story when I was your age. Believe it or not, I was there once. Under the ground, deep in the earth, among the roots of the trees, the little Root Children were fast asleep all winter long. They felt nothing of the biting wind, the cold snow, or the stinging hailstorms. They slept peacefully in their warm burrows. Let's see if other people can see the picture too. When at last winter came to an end and the sun began to melt the snow, Mother Earth came along with her candle to wake them up again. "Wake up, children," she called kindly. "Time to get up now. You've slept long enough. Spring is coming and there's work to be done. I've brought you scissors, needles, and thread, and pieces of cloth so that you can all make new clothes. Wake up. As soon as you're ready, I'll unlock and open the doors up to the ground." The children yawned and stretched. Then they jumped up merrily. "Hooray! Spring is coming." Mother Earth had pieces of lovely colored cloth in her basket. Each of the Root Children chose her own color to make a dress. The snowdrop chose a snow white cloth. Can you see which one she is? Yeah, right here. The forget-me-not a sky blue piece. Yeah. The buttercup bright yellow. The daisy white with yellow and a bit of red. And the poppy a bright red. Then they sat down in a cozy circle and began to work busily. They cut, they sewed and pressed until everything fitted exactly. And as they worked, they sang all the spring songs they knew. See how hard they're working? As soon as they had finished making their new dresses, they went up to Mother Earth in a long procession. Mother Earth looked over her spectacles in surprise when she saw the Root Children coming so soon. I don't think that happened here this year. "Well, well, you have been quick," she exclaimed. "And how nice it all looks." Even the little ants, who had been helping Mother Earth to wind up her wool, came to look inquisitively. They had never seen such splendid clothes. But there was still more to be done. The ladybirds, the beetles, the grubs, and the bumblebees had also been sleeping under the ground and had now woken up. They had to be washed and brushed, painted colorfully, and made to shine so they would look as beautiful as possible. What a hustle and bustle was going on down there. Up above the ground, the warm sun was already bringing out the new green leaves on the trees. Would the Root Children be ready in time? last it was really springtime, Mother Earth opened the door. Then out into the lovely warm spring sunshine came the stately procession of beetles, ladybirds, and root children with their blades of grass and flowers. And bugs. In the wood, the butterflies fluttered happily around the flowers. The lilies of the valley found a cool spot in the shade of the trees beside the blue violet, and there they let their flower bells tinkle. There, too, old Father Slibberslack came slowly creeping along. Ha, there you all are. Welcome to the big forest, he said to the children. The little violet looked at him shyly from her safe place behind her tree. She had never seen such a creature before.
That's Dada.
Summer came. In the little brook that flowed between the meadows, the water lily let herself be carried over the water like a princess. The reeds whispered in the wind. The forget-me-nots came and stepped carefully into the water. But the beetles grumbled, "It's getting too crowded here. Go play somewhere else." In the flower meadows, the root children were having a high time. They danced nimbly in the warm sunshine. Hop and skip, whoopee, what fun! If only it were always summer. Almost done. But summer also came to an end. The sharp autumn wind whirled the brightly colored leaves through the air and tugged at the root children's clothes. The wind called, "Hurry home, it's getting cold here. It's time to go to bed." So then they all went back again in a long procession. Mother Earth was standing by the door and hugged each child one by one. "Come in, children," she said. "And you too, beetles and bees. It's warm and cozy in here, and I've got something for you all to eat and drink. After that, you must all go to sleep until I wake you up again in the springtime." And all the little root children went down under the ground again to start their long winter's sleep. But that's a long time from now. Now it's springtime, and they're up here to play. Okay, you can go back to your mom.
And now stand as you're comfortable and join me in singing hymn number 21, "For the Beauty of the Earth."
No matter how far removed I am from Gaza, I don't actually feel separate from the grief erupting there. It isn't that I want to center myself or piggyback onto the pain of others, or because I need to project my own undefined pain onto something specific. I think it's because you and I are Earth, and because our pain is my pain. I've been thinking about what it has done to my spirit to live in a fragmented society, to be unaffected by genocide and war in a direct and maternal sense, but to know about it all the same. It's become increasingly difficult for me to reconcile the both and of living a nice life while bombs are being dropped on thousands of people across the world, which is actually very small in the scheme of things. I feel sad that killing people is still on the table as a viable option for anything, and yet my ability to continue with the complacency of my own life, despite an innate feeling that all of our lives are connected, confounds me. It is because war hasn't arrived on my doorstep yet? Is it as simple as the rage of the privileged never being the same as the rage of the oppressed? My ability to show up with love for my life while others are being buried is, in many ways, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But it is also because it is a fractured society with defined yet arbitrary borders. I am disconnected from others just enough to forget about them. I am conditioned not only to believe in my separateness, but also to just keep going, even when people are being murdered for no good reason. Why do I tolerate it? Does the structure of my survival make it feel like I would have to sacrifice my life if I devoted it to justice? How does one unravel themselves from a system in order to actively prioritize and stand for peace? Is there something more effective than becoming a martyr? It was Andy Warhol who said, "If everyone isn't beautiful, then no one is." I'd argue that it is the same for freedom. I am only as free as my most oppressed neighbor. My experiences of abundance are only as rich as those who have the least. I know it doesn't look that way materially. I have everything, including safety, but at what cost to myself and others? The only way I can stomach it is to embrace the facade of living a normal life through distraction and denial and a gratitude practice, I guess. But at the end of the day, my humanity knows no territory. There is no real distinction between what's mine and what's yours. Similarly, on a cellular level, I believe there is no distinction between our suffering.
Thanks to Anne for taking that on this morning. Brian's out sick and he's been practicing. It's a long reading, but thank you much for taking that on. And as you know, this would have been Soul Communion Sunday, and that's a tradition we've just started. And a soil scientist who was at my ordination said, don't do it. There are organisms that cross-pollinate, and you bring them home, don't do it. So this is a last-minute substitution. And actually, a really good pivot, frankly. So keeping in mind that it is Earth Day, and we are having a discussion about our land acknowledgement this morning, the worship ministry team and faith and action ministry have been reviewing the opening words that we do to tighten them up, possibly shorten them and opening up the language a bit, with the goal of creating some more succinct and accurate statements about the land acknowledgement and the green sanctuary work. Now, there's been controversy about the words that we have used in the past. We learned that our identification of the tribal lands wasn't as accurate as it should be or could be, even though I think we got the words from the Biddeford website. There was no intention to mislead, and there was no laziness on anyone's part. With congregational input, we now have more accurate words and more accurate representation of those who dwelled on the land before the Europeans came. It was the Pequawket and Secocas bands of the Abenaki peoples. We are working on changing our land acknowledgement, and there will be further conversation about that before we make any changes, but those are the tribes who were here before us. And there was also some controversy about the term that was added in more recently, and that term was unceded. Ownership of land is not a concept in the Native world. However, land acknowledgements are not for First Nations people. They are for us. They are for us to remain mindful about what brought our ancestors to this land and how we have come to acquire it and how we can take care of it. Or not, by the way. So unceded reflects to us that nobody gave us this land. Nobody gave it to us. We came here and we claimed it, we took it, and I think it's an accurate term, unceded, but not everybody has to agree at all about that. We removed it right away because it caused a stir, and that's okay too, but there'll be further conversation about it. And I heard from some people that a land acknowledgement might be, or it might seem to be, empty words if we do nothing but say those out loud and not act on them. But I will say to you, that's not true. Lao Tzu, the writer of the Tao Te Ching, the founder of Confucianism, said, your thoughts become words, and your words become actions, and your actions become habits, and your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. So thoughts become your destiny eventually. So words are therefore not empty. They incarnate things. They are the second step on a journey towards changing destiny. So we are in the thoughts phase, maybe the thoughts to words phase, part of making a statement about land. The worship ministry and ministry on faith and action have been doing research, some on the web, some from a book shared to us, and I'm going to leave that actually in the parish hall afterwards. We also heard from First Nations people about their thoughts on land acknowledgements. And as we grapple with what a land acknowledgement would say accurately, because we must be accurate, we have worked on that. But we must know our motives for doing it and who we are doing it for. And we are doing it for us, just so you know. And as the worship ministry moved forward to amend and implement a new land acknowledgement, there was a lot of energy about that, which means to me, we haven't done enough time exploring and thinking about it. Energy is good, controversy is good. It means we're awake, we are paying attention. And that's all the marks that something really matters. Something is important, something needs to be parsed out. And we will do that, because that's the kind of community we are. And I want to share a bit about why I think we should include a land acknowledgement in our welcome and announcements. The UU faith is a lineage of Christianity. And in 1493, in the era of global exploration, the Pope issued the Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery provided a framework for Christian explorers in the name of their sovereign to lay claim to territories uninhabited by Christians. If the lands were vacant, meaning they weren't inhabited by Christians, an explorer could arrive and claim the land as discovered on behalf of their sovereign. And what does claiming mean? Killing the non-Christian inhabitants, taking land and resources in the name of their nations. When Christopher Columbus arrived in what would become the Americas, there were 100 million First Nations people. And that was in 1492 when he landed. By 1600, 90% of that population was eliminated. 90 million people were exterminated. The doctrine itself remained a papal bull, in effect, until last year. The Vatican only repudiated it in 2023 under pressure from First Nations people worldwide and the UN. And the doctrine of discovery was the legal basis for land grabs and displacements and taking children and killing people. And that all happened in our lifespans. They took children and sent them to schools to be indoctrinated and take their language in our lifespan. So that's a brief and incomplete history I just painted with a broad brushstroke about the issue. Enough, I hope, for you to understand that we play a role in righting this cataclysmic wrong. We can begin by acknowledging there were others living here before us. We don't own this land, and I mean that's figurative because we don't own this land as a church, but it's also historical. We don't own this land. And while the First Nations people would never say that they owned it, they would have stewarded it before because they were a part of nature. They understood that. Colonists came to take trees, that was one of the big things they came to do, and fish and other commodities that would fetch a pretty penny overseas where things had been depleted in Europe. They took it for their own. They took resources and they didn't share them. And they did not steward them. And they did not respect the resources that they depleted. The colonists were not partners in creation, even though their faith said that, even though Christianity said you are a steward of all of this. And on a side note, all of this became the basis of creating the legal precedent for importing and maintaining slaves, but we won't go there today. A land acknowledgement is a small step in changing our thoughts to words, which is part of the trajectory of embodying justice and changing destiny. A land acknowledgement is not about saying sorry to First Nations people or showing how woke we are. It is about keeping our thoughts present about our place in history and how we benefit, how we still benefit from other people's oppression. Individually, none of us are oppressors that I know of. But now we suffer from environmental degradation that we caused, that colonization caused. Our collective soul suffers from unconscionable harm that was done and is still being done today by the cultural genocide that was committed to those who lived here before us. The marks of cultural genocide, by the way, are taking land, limiting access to ancestral homes and holy places, taking language, disallowing people from speaking their native language until the memory of it is gone, taking culture, disrupting family systems and grouping systems, and not allowing people to practice their religion, and taking away a group's children so there is no future. All of which was sanctioned by the Pope and is codified in some of our country's law still now, despite the fact that last year the Pope said it wasn't a good thing. All of this was carried out in our lifetime, all of these things. Now, one of the greatest political figures of all times was, in fact, Jesus. Not because he called for uprisings or overthrowing of governments, because he called people out to do the right things in society despite the political powers. We cannot right the wrongs of our forebears, but we can and we must be mindful of it. We need to see and acknowledge not only the harm that has been done, but is still being done. Lisa Saco joined us when we shared the plate with Wabanaki Public Health. And there were some things she said that I hope that you heard. First Nations women experience a much higher percentage rate of sexual violence, homelessness, and addiction than any other residents of the U.S. We know that now. What do you think about that? Why aren't we talking about that? There is a disproportionate amount of First Nations people and people of color in Maine, in the Maine state prison. What do you think about that? Why is that so? Why aren't we talking about that? Does it make you curious or uncomfortable or uneasy? Good. Good. As we think about these things and learn about these things, how can we help change the trajectory? The trajectory. Let's spend some time thinking about these things in community, please. Please. And let's start putting into words our acknowledgement of what came before us, so we remember every time we're together, as we remember every day, that we can change our actions, we can change our habits, we can change our character, we can change destiny. Because what we think and say does matter. How did slavery end? White people voted to end it. White people gave freedom, in theory. How did women get the right to vote? Men gave it to them. Men voted to let women vote. So we as a dominant culture need to help make space and a path for First Nations people to chart their way forward and support them in doing it. And it starts by thinking and reading and talking about it and saying it out loud. And by naming it, we start to acknowledge who was here before us. And more to come about this, because this is an important conversation and there are strong feelings about it. And again, that's good. Let's talk about that. There will be community conversations before we change our worship words. We don't have a date picked out for that, but probably our conversations will be in late May, early June. This is not a social club. Although we do make friends and we do spend good time together, we do good work in this church, but this is not a social club. And we do the things. We take care of the building, we welcome new members, we prepare worship, we care for those in need. We do all the things. And while we are doing the things, we live out our principles. We do the things in conjunction with our principles. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of each person. So whether you disagree with each other, whether we know each other, we covenant to recognize the inherent worth and dignity of each person. We should be having difficult conversations, but we have to do it with our principles in mind. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. Again, we should be having difficult conversation with justice, equity, and compassion always in the forefront. Acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregation. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and not just about building and grounds, and not just about caring for community, and not just about balancing a budget. And here's a big one: the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. That's in our principles. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Respect for the interdependent web of existence for which we are a part. That's what Faith in Action Ministry has been doing. That's what we need to do together. That's the conversation for all of us. We need to be looking at systematic oppression through the lens of these principles, looking outward to how we can apply our principles in the world in service to all peoples and all creatures and all of creation. We need to be in communion with the land and with the peoples and with creation. And we also need to be thinking and speaking about these hard things through a filter of our principles. Hard conversations cause hard feelings, and that means it matters. So we have to keep having them. Let's remember the worth and dignity and acceptance of one another while we have those conversations. And let's use all of our principles with each other as we apply the principles and create the world that we all know is possible. We are a gentle, angry people, so the song goes, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. And may that always be so. Amen. The work of the church happens because so many people participate. So many people lend their gifts and talents, their time, and their money, which we're going to talk more about after service, to keep our work going all the time. Half of our money goes to an organization that's supporting our community. This month, we're sharing it with our discretionary fund because we've used a bit of that up, and that goes to support people confidentially who are struggling. If you're looking on from home, you can donate by mailing a check to UUCSB 60 School Street, Saco, Maine 04072, and I believe there's also a button on the web that you can press and pay. This morning's offering will now be received. Please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths today, tomorrow, and always. And join me in singing hymn 281, Our God, Our Help in Ages Past. seated. As we go from this place, may we be mindful of and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that do not serve the whole. We are who we are, and we have the opportunity to be who we want to be, to create a new inheritance for the future. May our thoughts, may our words, may our actions in our daily lives assist in dismantling paradigms of oppression and suffering. Underneath and within these stories and histories is our humanity. Being human means we are of this earth, we are of these waters, we are fire, we are atmosphere, we are sun, we are moon, we are stars. We are all that we see, and the wisdom is revealed when we look between. Our service has now concluded. Thank you all so much for being here today. Please remain for lunch. It should be a nice one. And also remain sitting while Paul plays our postlude.